My name is Robin Dodd. I'm a landscape photographer based in the United Kingdom, and today we're going to have a look at woodland photography in the winter. I'll show you how I go about looking for compositions and putting them together to make beautiful images. So you'll see in a minute me doing some photography in the mist, and the fog in the woods. I've finished now. It's dissipated and sort of going away, getting a lot lighter. So this is just to show you how I would go about photographing, and why mist and fog is probably one of the best ways to photograph certain types of trees, particularly oak trees. Any trees really, but specifically oak trees. This is the woodland in here. We'll go inside, have a look, and have a look at a few compositions to see how I set them up. I was going to do a video on Morocco because I've been there a few times and I've just come back. It's a beautiful place, but and it'll be quite an interesting video, quite insightful really. But I thought, because there's going to be a podcast, Grant from Australia is up here on the screen. I'll put it up now. He's done a podcast where he's interviewed me, and it was more about woodland photography and that sort of thing. So I thought a good idea would be, sort of in conjunction with that, I'd put some of my stuff on about woodland photography and how I go about it and how I do these things, because some people have been asking me quite recently how I go about and take the images, and there's always that question: do you really edit them? Do you know? And is it all photoshopped and that type of thing? No, not really. In fact, my editing can be quite bland really, but because get it right in camera, and getting it right in camera is quite often to do with the conditions rather than anything else. I'm very much dictated by the weather and conditions when I come to do my photography. It's early in the morning. We were here before sunrise, and sunrise is here. Well, you can't see the sun. That's England for you. That's it. So follow me into the woods, and I'll show you how I go about doing it. Spooky woods. It's the first time I've been down here a long time where there's been a really good amount of fog and mist. I was going to go to an area where there's some beech trees, which are the sort of very much more straight trees. These gnarly trees in here, they're very difficult to photograph because because the branches all go like that in this sort of gnarly way. If it's just normal natural light without any fog dissipating in the background, the problem you have is it all just blends into one. It's chaos, and you really can't see the subject. Whereas hopefully here you can see we've got our subjects. So let's have a look. Where are we at? Yeah, so we got this tree here, sort of in the foreground, and then some further in the background, and it's just the way they blend in together. And if you just move the camera slightly that way or that way, it just makes so much difference, particularly in the fog. So when you're looking for your compositions in oak woods with gnarly trees, the fog's the best, and as soon as you see it's going to be like this straight up here. Yeah, that's it. We'll keep looking. I don't know how much longer the fog will last. You know, you tend not to get these conditions for too long. As it brightens up, it'll dissipate greatly. moody feeling, you know, dark, woodland, maybe a place you wouldn't want to wander. That would be the way the picture comes across, but at the same time maybe slightly awe-inspiring, and not a scene that you would normally see or come across, because, you know, it's not that usual to get fog like this. So great scene. We'll keep trekking. Tips here for this: ISO 400, quite a long shutter speed. Originally we're starting 15 seconds, I'm now down to about 8 to 4 seconds, but it's very still, so we haven't got any movement in those leaves. What else have we got here? Oh yeah, so we do need to use that remote control. That's what I've been using to keep the camera really steady. Make sure it's off image stabilization because they're quite long shutters. And then also I have one of these, which is like a microfiber cloth to wipe the front of the lens. Conditions like this, a little bit humid, so sometimes it can fog over, and you're so busy and intent trying to get this beautiful scene that you don't realise it's fogged over. And when it's foggy, you don't notice that your lens is fogged over because it still looks foggy, and actually, you know, that detail just that blurs out because you had fog on the front of, or mist, moisture on the front of your lens. So there's always a tip to be aware of in conditions like this. But it's great, I love it, and I'll just see what else we can find. The light's coming in from the side here, so you can't see, but actually it's open just over there. We're very near to the edge. If you read my book and see some of the other videos, I do say the edge of the wood is sometimes the best place to be, to get really good light, directional light. We're clocking that, remembering that for when we come back to the edit. I may or may not edit this online and show you how I do it. It probably won't really need any editing at all anyway. Okay, crack on. Second attempt, the mic didn't work first time. A new mic, so I'm just trying it out. Right, okay, so this is a good example. We're still on the side of the woods, still got a mist in the background, but this is how, you know, framing. So we've got these lovely bowed trees here, and we're framing the gnarly oaks in the background. That's great. So and it's just the slightest movement from side to side that's going to make all the difference. I'll show you that in a second, what happens when we move it from side to side. So what I would say with a shot like this is, you know, first of all, we've got the detail in the foreground. That's brilliant. And then we've got it receding into the background, and that's due to the fog. And so we've got the gnarly tree in the middle, but you can see the separation, which is important. Otherwise it would just all blend into one. And so the next consideration here is a portrait or landscape shot, and I would say that this should be landscape to start off with, but try portrait, because you can see the trees here bow up, and so they're oblong going upwards, so maybe that would look better to the eye. And I would say that, you know, you've got nothing to lose. It's a couple of extra seconds to take the portrait shot. You have to be careful in woodland photography when you do take the portrait shots, because you get too much sky in and it just blows the highlights out. But conditions like this, no, that's perfect, because, you know, you haven't got those blown highlights out because of the fog and the diffuseness of it all. So just try both versions, and it's handy for Instagram as well, without having to do any editing. Okay, so we're back again. I put a polarizer on. This is a classic example of how the difference in light plays on the woodlands. So before we had the mist and the fog rolling in, it was very mute colours, but you could get the separation between everything. Now there's a lot less separation. We've still got mist and a bit of fog, and we still do have a bit of separation. It's much harder to shoot because the dynamic range is greater. The highlights here are blown out currently. Does that matter? I don't know really. It's down to a personal feel for the image. I'll shoot this and try and deal with that dynamic range, and that actually might need a bit of exposure blending to two shots. But my view is the definition and between certain trees and objects has diminished now. But you know, it's what you want to put across feel and atmosphere. The plus side to this is that we've got great side light coming on here, and that acts as providing definition to those trees and almost separation to an extent in its own right. But you know, there's two ways of doing it, I suppose. Which image works better? I'll put them up. In my head, I think the first ones, when it was just before sunrise, or probably the sun was just coming up then, but it was behind the clouds and the mist and the fog, so very muted colours. This is a much more buoyant feel to it. The other one was a much more moody, spooky feel. And that's it really. Just how different maybe half an hour can make in the woodland. This is half an hour's difference. Just love it. It's great, isn't it? Time to go home. I might go via the beech trees and have a look and see if there's anything there. If there's a little bit of mist and fog, I might go. But I need some breakfast, and that's probably the most important thing currently. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. Don't forget that I only put these out, you know, to help people with woodland photography. Unless I get feedback, I find it a bit difficult. So maybe you could, you know, subscribe and maybe put a few comments whether you like videos like this, whether they help you or not. Sort of, you know, like deathly silence never helps really. Yeah, so that's it. And oh, sorry, there was a video podcast that's coming up soon. I'll put that on the end of the screen if you might. It's an interview with me about my woodland photography and my landscape photography. There'll be a second part to this video where I'll explain how I do my editing. I use various bits of software, but in particular DxO software, also known as the Nick Collection. There's a discount code here from me. I'm an affiliate to them, so that's a discount. FastFox, put that in. You'll get a 15% discount. I get a small percentage of that, and that helps support my channel. So I hope you enjoyed it, and that's it really. Goodbye.